Hello and welcome along to my latest video. This is the second Beamer's Bluffers guide. That's a mouthful. We're in week 2 of this brand new series, BMW 12.0, and this week we're on my home turf. We're in Brands Hatch. Absolutely brilliant course. Lends itself really well to the Beamer. The Beamer drives nicely around here. It's a lot of fun, but it's a tough track. It's a tough track to drive fast anyway. So we will do the usual thing. We will run through the lap a few times, and then later on I'll pause it at key sort of braking points so we can talk about the corners in more detail. There are a couple of really tricky sections here. One wheel off the track and it's pretty much game over. It's just grass straight into walls or fencing. So no mistakes can be made. Let's get on with it. Okay, so while you taking the first cockpit view lap, the normal caveat, I'm no alien, I'm just a normal person, so my time of 1:19.6 I'm quite pleased with. I could go faster. You will find faster if you're looking for hot laps, you're in the wrong place. Probably about a second faster, I think, on average. But what I would like to suggest is that this is a good time to aim for an average lap time across your BMW 12.0 race. Now, Brands Hatch is an awful lot of fun to drive, but as I mentioned in the intro, it is quite a dangerous track to drive fast. There's a good few corners here that can really catch you out. Here's one, and this entire next complex is dodgy if you're not careful. Easy to come off on the gravel there. This is very hard to judge for the braking area. Round to that right, easy to slip off to the left there. And this is a really fast left-hand turner, but it doesn't sort of give you much leeway. You haven't got much room. And again, the final right is deceptively difficult. It's off camber. It's leading you straight into the grass. It's easy to go wrong. But let's have a look at the lap in slightly more detail. So this time we're going to go back round in the cockpit view, but slow things down, half speed. Want to head over to the left here for T1. 100 is your braking marker, maybe just a bit before. And then as soon as you hit that green patch there, you want to head right, trail braking in to the apex, and then getting on the gas. Now you can load up your front here really well, so you can actually steer quite hard and the car will stick there. So you want to be braking before the 50 marker there. Trail brake right into this corner, right in and round, and then pick up the accelerator. I do it in second. You could do it in first quite happily. I just find it helps keep the traction. So just after the 50 marker for this left-hander, I keep it in third. Again, you could go to second. You want to use all of the runoff here, but it's an easy 1x there if you're not too careful. So back over to the right now, and we're going to want to pick up the brakes just after the 50 marker. Aim towards that little path that's going off to the right, swing it in down to second slowly, and then you want to be back on the gas on the apex there. It's a late apex. It's a difficult corner that it's going to take practice. So I want to take the shortest line down through the straight here. We're coming to one of the kind of really key super fast corners here, this right-hander. Leave your braking until right after the 50 board or around the 50 board, down to fourth, swing it in right tight to the side of the track and pick up the accelerator there. And then here we're braking just before the red on the left. We're pulling in, we're trailing in, back on the gas, use all the runoff here. Again, it's a really tricky area that, but we're actually coming up to what I'd consider the hardest corner to do fast. Before the 50 marker, brake, you want to be right over the left-hand side of the track, cut as much as you can, and resist the urge to not get back on the gas. Get back on the gas. For this left-hander, it's 50 marker. Now, you've got camber on your side here, so you can... The Beamer actually sticks to the road really quite well already, so you can carry a lot of speed around there because of the camber. It's going to dig those tyres into the track. So back over to the left here. Just around about the 50 marker, and then turn in at the end of that path on the left, right up to the right hand side of the track, and then on the gas and let the car run out wide to the left. And then I'm coming back into the right here because we want to obviously make the track as short as possible. And then I'm setting myself up for the next lap. Okay, so this time we're going to go to far chase so we can sort of see where the car is on the track. We're heading over to the left-hand side. I'm just going to pause it just at the start of the braking point here. So we are just around about the 100 marker, a little bit beyond. And we're going to keep the car on the left. Obviously, the track's going around to the right, so you have to kind of cut off a little bit. But the green runoff on the left, where the little road comes in, the start of that is our kind of marker to let us know that we want to start hanging a right. Now we have to be a bit careful because the car gets really light over that ridge. So let's carry on and watch what we do here. So we're hanging a right, we're peeling right off the brakes, we're hitting that bang on the apex and then straight on the gas, because even though it looks like we might be heading wide, because it's a downhill, the car just digs right in. So we're braking nicely before, just a bit before the bridge and the 50 marker here. For this right-hander, it's quite a long corner. You've got to be super patient here. So we're braking hard, we're braking pretty much max, and then we are aiming ourselves diagonally in towards the corner. We want to head in there and take it nice and tight. Now, if you watch when I press play again, we're going to trail brake really tightly right round to the apex. Keep on those brakes for longer than you think, and then as soon as the car's got enough turn in, we're back on the gas, nice and gentle. I went about 3/4 on the gas there for a bit, and then we went on straight back over to the right. Want to be hitting the brakes around about, by the 50 marker. There's a little bit of runoff on the right. Do be careful, there's not a lot, and if you do slip your kind of right rear onto the grass there, you're going to have a bad day. So I try and avoid to use the runoff as much as I can, but we're spending, a little bit of time, 50% brake. We're going to trail in to the apex of this one, but we're going to let the car run super wide because it's got a really wide exit area to use, and we want to make full use of that. So we trail right into the apex, straight back on the gas, catch as much of that runoff area as we can. It's easy to catch 1Xs there, but you get the hang of it. After the 50 marker for the next corner, we're going kind of 50, 60% brake pressure for quite a short period of time. Now look where the car is. Now I'm probably not perfectly kind of located here, but what I'm doing effectively is aiming my car at that path ahead, off the track ahead. And then once I'm starting to get towards the outer edge of the course here, I'm swinging round, I'm keeping my eye, but there's a big notch on the inside rumble strip that sort of denotes the apex, and the reason we want to take a late apex here is A, because it's faster, and B, because we're going to avoid that notch, because if we hit it, we're going to lose a lot of balance in the car, and we're probably going to do a donut when we try and accelerate out of that corner. And it's an important, long straight here, leading onto a really fast right-hand corner. So we need to spend a lot of time on that corner, because you're going to, make or lose a couple of tenths here every lap. So it's an important one. So we're right over to the left. We're going to leave it right until the 50 marker here. And we're just going to dab the brakes, like 20%, 25%. It's quite a light brake, and then we're just going to really, really just like hover our foot over the brake for a bit as we try and take the apex on the right here as fast as we can. So we're only going to apply the brakes anymore if we need to, so we can bring the car into the apex, because we want to run off out of this corner as quickly as we possibly can. So trail braking is the absolute key here. So here we are. So I've started braking. This is the kind of make or break period part of the course here. This is where what separates the men from the boys. So I brake quite early here. I would suggest just around about the, as we're going to hit before the 50 marker, where there's a little red notch on the fencing on the left. I brake quite hard here, probably just over 50%, 55%, but I just I pump the brake. I'm not like pushing and holding. I'm giving the brake a shove, and then I'm coming off quite quickly to cut off as much of this corner as I can, and then back on the gas straight away. We want to accelerate towards that tree, which is scary, but your car will stick. And then here, the hardest right-hander, I'm braking probably just over half here. You know, we're in a bit of trouble here because the corner itself is slightly off camber. So while the run-up's okay, we need to get the braking done reasonably early because we don't want to be braking as we enter the apex here, because the corner will literally spit you out onto the grass. It's easy to get this wrong, but again, a really good shove on the brakes here, and then really light braking from that point. You want to trail in, so you're not scrubbing too much speed. And the idea here is to try and get on the gas as soon as you hit the apex here, so you can, you know, keep that speed up. So we're heading in, we're cutting off as much as we can, we're back on the gas really early, forcing that car round, because we want to be braking on the right hand side a little bit before the 50 marker. Again, I probably brake quite early here. Now the interesting thing about this corner is you can actually take it a lot faster than you think. Camber is on our side here, and the deeper you tuck yourself into that apex onto the rumble strip, the better. The more the car's going to stick. And as you'll see here, the car just sticks. So okay, now we are coming out onto the final kind of corner. Not quite as tricky as the other one, but this is still pretty tough. I'm braking as I'm coming up to the 50 marker again, a little bit before, just in the break between those two sets of tyre barriers there. Now what I want to do, because again this is an off camber corner, so we are in danger of being spat out into the fencing on the left after the apex. So what we want to do is get a good bit of braking done here, and then trail it in towards the apex, very light on the steering, and we want to start turning in to the right just as this runoff track starts on the left, well, on the right there. That's where we want to start turning in. That's where we're really heavily peeling off the brakes, and we want to catch the right hand side of the track, just as we finish our braking zone. We're apexing just as the rumble strip changes, and then we're back on the gas quickly, but we're careful with our steering, because if we oversteer during that period, the car's really light because of the off camber, then we're in trouble. We want to bring it back in tight so we can get the fastest line around the straight, and then we're done. So that was me in a 1:19.6. Like I say, not the fastest lap, but hopefully, it's giving you something to work with to get your times down. But do keep an eye on those replays when you're in open practice. Hopefully you're doing lots of open practice and you're watching the really fast guys. You're hopping in their cockpit and watching their hot laps, see what they do and how they do it. It's a great way to learn. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with another track. Have a good week racing. I hope it goes really well, and see you next time. Cheers.